It's really strange. I think the whole world of, like, especially for young guys at the moment, is it young girls that have got it worse? Is it young guys that have got it worse? I don't think it really matters. I think that everyone is kind of lost, and this obsession with looks is so interesting to me, because we definitely had it. You know, I'm 36 now, so I guess from your audience, it's like 2 decades. Sounds like a long time, and really was. We weren't as obsessed with the way that we looked. And for girls, there's at least a bit of like nobility in vanity for them. Like, you know, women that are in their 50s get cosmetic surgery, in their 60s get cosmetic surgery. They use makeup, they wear heels, they accentuate their body shape by wearing certain dresses. Like, it's kind of in the lines. It's part of the lineage of your sex. The same isn't quite true for men, you know? So there's an interesting stat that says male body dysmorphia is on track to overtake female body dysmorphia within the next 2 decades. That doesn't surprise me at all.
With men becoming more and more feminine, lower testosterone, societal pressures to not be as masculine, I'm not surprised that so many guys are getting into like, am I looking cute or not? Because quite frankly, bro, when I was in high school, and I'm sure it would have been even more so for your generation, it was gay. Like, we saw Justin Bieber, and the first thing that any of us said was he was gay because he had this kind of hair. And it wasn't even us trying to be like homophobic and trying to make like some kind of actual point. It was just like, guys don't do that. But these days, the younger generation are, and I think it's because they're taking on a lot of like feminine traits. Like I every now and then I'll scroll on Instagram or something, right? The algorithm gets me too, and there'll be like videos I'll see of guys who, it should be a girl who's made it. He's like looking into the camera and he's putting on like cream or some shit. Then he's doing his eyebrows, he's doing his beard and looking cute. Then he puts on hair product and he's like doing this. And it's like, he'll have loads of likes, validation, girls who are attracted to him, guys who are looking up to him. But it's very interesting that that's how a girl would be posting on Instagram right now.
I guess that a lot of the stuff that guys typically do when they're young doesn't probably come across that well on TikTok. Like, it's just you and your boys playing Xbox in your pants, your pajamas, like in your bedroom in your parents' house. Like, why is that? That's not very exciting. I wonder whether this is downstream, at least in part, from Me Too and women being more concerned about aggressive, dominant men, especially when they're young and vulnerable. Maybe they haven't had sex, or maybe they're starting to become sexually active, and they're thinking, actually, if I'm with someone that seems like halfway like a best friend, that's almost like an anime character cuddle toy equivalent of a boyfriend, I wonder whether they feel more like sexually safe and secure. That would be something that I could absolutely see.
And then with them, so many people taking birth control, they're more likely to be attracted to more of the more feminine features.
Men. Yeah, correct.
Which is deadly. We had a kid in Adonis School actually who said his girlfriend went off birth control, and it's exactly what you had spoke about with Louise Perry, that his their sex life went to shit, and they watched your podcast. I sent them the link, and they said that that's basically what's happening right now.
Yeah, I had a friend who a girlfriend who swings both ways, mostly lesbian but bisexual.
What's her name?
And she'd eat you alive. You don't want to. You don't want to step into that war game. And for 1 week out of every month, she says that she's straight again. Like, she's not on hormonal birth control, but for the week that she's ovulating, yeah. So that change in hormones, and this is one thing that I don't think guys really understand, just how aggressively women get ragged around by that internal manipulation. Like, guys are very hormonal in short bursts, and it's not reliable. Like, you can't track it based on the moon's position. But we are not in the same way that women are. And women, I think, for the most part, are a lot more controlled by emotions. They tend to feel emotions more deeply, both as a predisposition and then socially it's more acceptable, so they don't tamp them down as much. Like, it would be like, if we could swap places, I would hate that. Like, I've just got, I'm looking on my calendar and I'm like, oh yes, I've got the podcast with Hamza on Tuesday, and then I've got the podcast with Owen McManus on Wednesday, and oh fuck, like, I start my period on Thursday and it's gonna kill. Like, I don't want that. I wouldn't want that. But yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see what the next few years have in store. I wonder whether, well, actually, that's a question. If it's such a case that young guys are optimizing for this super pretty boy TikTok look, why did Andrew Tate resonate so much with that same age group?
Because it's the guys who aren't optimizing for that. So it's like, let's say,
The counterculture.
yeah, whatever percentage it is of the guys who are going for the sort of femboy look and they, you know, being proper cute, wearing the dress and saying, yeah, this is positive masculinity, whatever. There's an equal or even greater number of guys who have just been silent and, you know, living the quiet lives of desperation where they feel like that's odd, but they've not been able to speak up about it because they know that that's hate speech. And so when you see Tate go viral, he said basically the things that most men have wanted to say but haven't had the courage to do so. So he's just attracted a different audience compared to the likely femboys out there.
Yeah, for every cultural movement, in fact, I can teach you to predict the future. For every cultural movement that occurs, if there hasn't yet been a countercultural movement, that's what comes next. So 2020, you have COVID, everyone gets shut down, no one can go outside. 2021, Megan Thee Stallion releases Hot Girl Summer. You didn't get to party last year, so glam up, make the most of yourself, go out with your girls, have casual sex, have a fun time. 2022, you have Feral Girl Summer. Like, don't shave, don't wash, no one cares about what you think. Every single time, for every like simp, there's a sigma. For every alpha, there's a beta.
Vegans and carnivores. Yeah.
Every movement has to have. It's like a thermodynamic law of culture. For every movement, there has to be a counter movement. For every left, there has to be a right. And yeah, it's. I think you could quite easily predict it. And I didn't know that sort of underground, more femboy trend amongst teenagers was happening. But if that's part of the fashion, it absolutely makes sense that Tate comes in, and presumably he doesn't know about it either, but he just managed to like strike at the right time.
Yeah.